You never get what you want from Google.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 17 of the weekly. Thank you for joining us. And of course, we have almost everyone here except Mr. Juan Bagnell, who can't make it to the show today. But how's it going, Warren?
Good. It's going good. Thumbs up. Let's do this.
All right. And of course, Sam, you're back. How's it going? Rested?
Not bad. Yeah. No, getting there. I'm hoping one more day would get me back to normal.
All right, cool. Just before we start, just a couple of things to cover. Again, you guys can go ahead and check out the Tech Beard podcast from Adam, who is part of the Booredatwork family as well as Pocket Now. So check out his podcast. It's once every 2 weeks. The link is down below. So go ahead and check that out. And let us jump into stuff this week. We don't have a useless list, or is there one? Because I really didn't find one. But if you guys have a useless list, please let me know. No? None. Okay. All right, let's jump into some of the stuff here. We had Computex this week and also a lot of announcements. But one of the big announcements that came from Computex, that was being big news this week, was the Essential Phone, which is, of course, the smartphone that's been rumored from Andy Rubin, who is the founders of Android, and it picked up a lot of buzz this week. It's got a nice looking framework. I like the way the camera is centered around, all that fun stuff. But I want to get your thoughts about the Essential Phone. I'll start off with you, Warren. What do you think about the Essential Phone? What it's trying to offer, specs, all that stuff.
I mean, it's just like pretty much the standard phone that you would normally see out of a flagship. It has the specs that you would expect. It's doing a little bit of the modular stuff that we've seen from Motorola. Cool phone, looks good. I just consider the thing vaporware until they give me a date that they're actually willing to release this thing. It's like the second I looked on there and it said it didn't have any type of release date, I was like, out of sight, out of mind. Doesn't mean anything until they have to. Grady is the founder of Android. Congratulations, give me a release date.
Okay, so you're putting it as a minor vaporware, even though the likelihood of this coming out is higher than most.
I mean, I'm waiting for the Kickstarter to show up because it's gonna.
No, I don't think it is.
I
think this phone is pretty. The fact that they've announced it and the fact that Andy Rubin's name is behind it, I think they can get enough funding without going to Kickstarter, right? And it's I guess it's a new company. It's called the Essential Phone, but I think the company name is Essential.
The company name is Essential. The phone is called the PH1.
Yeah. So
Potaco's one.
But my thing also what it is, it's an impressive spec, but what makes it such? I'm trying to just look at it and I'm trying to figure out what makes it the Essential Phone, considering it doesn't have it's not waterproof. It's not.
So the whole idea is that this is a basically a pared down Android phone. You're not going to get the gimmicks. You're not going.
So a Pixel.
Yeah, yes. So basically,
okay. Then why does this phone exist?
But the Pixel is Google's reference design, and even though the Pixel was pretty cool, even when the Pixel came out, it was still 1 year behind. Okay, so this is basically saying we're going to give you the
Pixel was on point to what it was that year.
No.
It wasn't 1 year behind. Remember, that phone comes out in the fall. That's not a 1 year behind phone.
The specs on it to me were 1 year behind, man. The specs were 1 year behind. Simple.
Nah, it's a Pixel, and Pixel was not 1 year behind. Not even close to being 1 year behind. The phone hasn't even been out a year yet.
I still think the specs were 1 year behind me.
Okay, I mean,
but at the end of the day, this phone is supposed to be the flagship that you get, or a flagship-esque kind of phone, where basically none of the carrier software is basically plugging in.
We already signed it. The bill already passed to pretty much clean all that up.
Yeah, but we know how that works. If the bill gets signed this year, you finally see it go into play 5 years from now. Okay, so this is just a pared down Android experience where you get to experience the phone itself
for $700.
For $750, yes.
$699, not $750. I mean, I hear you. I think I'm leaning a little bit too more towards Warren's point. I like the design; it looks really cool. titanium build, which is pretty nice. It's got the monochrome camera. It's got the different camera text behind. The snap-on feature for the 360 camera is actually more ingenious than you buying and holding the 360, because you're going to hold your phone, so might as well, right? So I like all those things, but to Warren's point, I mean, what makes it essential? Like, why should I move away from the Galaxy S8 to this? The thing that a lot of companies tend to miss is that there are certain things
exactly the same too.
Yeah, the exact, when it costs the same, there are certain things that make certain phones essential for you. For me, Samsung Pay, it's going to be hard for you to take me off a Samsung phone because of that. That is my own buy-in, right? For Warren, it could be something else or a different device. For you, Sam, the same thing. The problem with the essential phone is that with the name and what they're showing, I still don't see what will take me to at least pick it up and say, oh, other than the fact that it's a beautiful looking phone and it's got some nice specs, but if I were to do the apples to apples in terms of I need to switch out one Android phone for another.
Wait, we're actually not to, I'm sorry I'm interrupting with this, but we should point this out here. This isn't an Android-based phone. This is
what?
Ambient OS is its own thing.
Oh, I thought it was going to be an Android-based.
It's still running Android 7.1 though. It's the overlay is Ambient OS. It's still running Android, yeah.
Well, and it says that's not the way it sounded in here.
Platform is supposed to be 7.1 right off the bat, which is something that everyone is going to do now.
I don't know. It sounds to me that it's their, like, I'm not reading any code that sits there and says that this is Android. It's saying Ambient OS, and it's their own thing because they're hoping to work with other partners.
Okay, so I'm looking at the phone itself, right? I'm looking at images of the phone itself, like when it was released with him holding it, and a lot of the apps that are being shown there, like Chrome, the messaging app looks very similar to what Android is doing. The phone app looks very similar. I'm thinking this is based on Android.
Well, there could be some basis to that, but the way they're coming off though is, Android is Linux, so it's not, there's only so much you can do to make Linux look that much different. But the
apps, man, even the app design is.
Yeah, you could have the similar app design, which is fine. But the way that this is being promoted, this isn't like how. Like this isn't like where we know the other phones are Android at its core. They'll mention Android, but they tend to mention their UI experience on top of it. They're literally saying this runs Ambient OS. This isn't like this is not TouchWiz, whatever the Samsung UX user experience on top of Android.
That is very true, but visually, they have to clarify this stuff anyway. But visually, at this point, watching him navigate the device, it looks like Android. Yeah. The arrow buttons, the swipe from the bottom, like all that stuff, it's so Android-esque that to me, if you're going to make your own OS, you have to kind of differentiate it just in terms of visual look, right?
Yeah.
Enough for people to go, it's not. But anyway, we'll have to wait and see. Once we either have like a firm launch date or some of the events
or actual hands-on with
most likely would be at IFA is most likely the place that most people will get their hands on in this device.
But I'm thinking, I think part of the reason also launching is the accessories as well, right? The accessories are supposed to play a major part in the way this phone actually works, right? They're going to ship a 360 camera. That can basically clip on top of the phone. They have magnetic connectors for certain apps and for certain accessories and things like that. And there is no 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, so that might be another Bluetooth accessory that they're going to be releasing. So this phone seems like a play on giving you just the bare essentials on your phone, and then everything else comes in the form of an accessory, which is going to be a very interesting play.
Right now, what they've got for them is they've got good marketing buzz. They came in, they got a lot of buzz. It's kind of similar to OnePlus. They've entered that territory. The problem is their pricing and how they will stack up, especially the launch date is set for around Q3, which is the same time as the Galaxy Note 8 and the iPhone. And then, of course, the Pixel will follow with that. So you're entering into a heavily crowded market where your chances of success are going to be less. Plus, you still will be battling OnePlus, by the way, just to let you know. You know, that's a whole device segment that, you know, has a dedicated family, and that company has grown up. So it's going to be interesting to see how they can do it. You know, maybe they can. Maybe Andy Rubin has enough, you know, backing and power to push it. But I would just say wait and see. I won't put anything negative out there, but I would just say wait and see how it turns out.
I think that OS is a big flag. They need to be a lot more clear on what that is, because they're using the icons from Android, which those icon packs are probably open source. But it's if you're running a different operating system, you don't want to fool people into thinking that their standard apps and features would work. Then all of a sudden, pick this up, and nope, that's not going to work for you, and that'd be pretty bad to have happen. You know, and so hopefully, maybe by the time maybe it debuts in San Francisco, since this is such a U.S. based phone, maybe this would be the feature they'll talk about at the MWC of Americas that they're trying.
They're trying to push that one now.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see.
AKA keep trying to push CTIA. Still trying to push it.
Yeah. Moving on, another announcement which is kind of tied, a little bit to Qualcomm, was the ZTE Nubia Z17. It's running Snapdragon 835, 8 gigs of RAM, bezel-less as they call it. It's got thick bezels on the top and the bottom, but you know, none on the sides.
None on the side, yeah.
It comes with 2 cameras on the back, 23 and a 12. Supports 2x zoom, a selfie camera in front at 16 megapixels. 80-degree wide-angle lens for you there. As I mentioned, Snapdragon 835 also has Qualcomm's new Quick Charge 4 Plus, not just 4, 0 to 50 in 25 minutes. There's also Dolby Atmos speakers, which is something ZTE had last year, and they're continuing their partnership with Dolby. Looks like a solid device. I mean, in terms of pricing, the version with 6 gigabytes of RAM and 64 gigabytes of storage is $411.
Yeah.
And then 6 gigabytes with 128 is $449. And then the highest one with 8 gigabytes of RAM is $583, which is not bad pricing. I like that pricing across the board. What we see here in the U.S.
And they have marketing by with Cristiano Ronaldo.
For the worldwide audience, yes. In the U.S.,
no one really cares about Cristiano Ronaldo yet. I think people do care about it here.
I mean, yeah, they're pockets of fans, but it's not like, you know, he's big. It looks like, look-wise and everything you throw out there, it looks nice. Hopefully they can bring it to the U.S. Any thoughts, guys?
The price point looks amazing, man. I can't really believe the price point on this, and like $583 for 8 gigs of RAM, plus the rest of the specs there. That's not bad. That is not bad at all. There are a few companies that can learn from this. A few companies can definitely learn from this. And if we start talking about, you know, more people doing things like DeX, then 8 gigs of RAM is just ideal to run an environment that's desktop friendly. So it would be nice to see what they do with that, or what they actually do with 8 gigs of RAM on the phone. That would be
a lot of nothing.
Yeah, that could also happen. They could do nothing with it. Just be like, oh, you have a powerful phone that can play just the same games that every other phone can play.
No headphone jack.
Yeah, it's done.
I'm personally thinking the headphone jack's dead. I think it's dead. I think people they tried to go back. Yeah, people try to go back and put the headphone jack back in for some flagships for the last couple of years. I mean, for this year actually. I'm thinking LG and Samsung, right?
So LG and Samsung are the ones, yeah.
And then it looks as though even though they try to push that, they're eventually going to get rid of it. That's kind of crazy, but it's a shame. But hey, we'll see. They're trying to put more things into the phone. The headphone jack, which I don't think is that big of a module in the phone, it's just going away.
Do you know how much it costs?
Zero reason.
Yeah, it costs that much.
It's 0.01 cents. No, 0.2 zeros after the dot. Sorry, so it's less than a cent in terms of cost.
There's no reason. There's absolutely no reason why they're doing it.
Yeah,
zero, none.
I mean,
it should be at the same time while pushing USB-C audio devices for sure. Have them both sitting there. That'll get people to look into it. But forcing, no.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Plus, it's not like our phones are getting thinner, that it's, it's half the size of the port. So definitely, it's not one of those design things where you go, oh, it was so thin, we had to take it out. Nah, none of that. But anyway.
No one's coming with a good reason either. Every time you ask them, it's like, you just did something to do something.
Yeah.
And this is exactly why your company is where it is. Okay.
It might also be the fact that Bluetooth is getting better. Having less wires and taking your phone out of your pocket more, less and less might be the thing.
I mean, Apple's play on doing it was to sell the fucking AirPods and the W1 processor, which I had to explain to people. Man, I got in an argument with somebody that claimed that, the AirPods or whatever the heck pods and my lower third went away and it's gone for good apparently. Oh, there it is.
It's back up.
Which just went away on its own, but they were just like, nobody has a quality of the AirPods and a W1 processor, and I had to sit here and school them and say, Plantronics made this entire thing 2 years ago. What about 100 feet away? Plantronics did that. That had nothing to do with the Bluetooth inside of the thing. That was something to do with
the W1 processor has nothing to do with sound.
Zero. It's just their proprietary Bluetooth.
Yeah.
So, and then they're like, well, you just put it up and automatically connects. I said, yeah, when you connect Bluetooth the one time to the phone, it pretty much does that. It still has to do with pairing. It probably NFC pairs, which a lot of Bluetooth headphones were doing, but you would just NFC tag it in and automatically pair for you. There's nothing special about those things.
I mean, so Apple just basically created a chip so that now all their devices have a single protocol to link once and for all. That's just pretty much
That's all that they did with it. And I mean, it's nice that it's truly wireless, but then I have a pair of truly wireless, but it's a nice thing to have, but it's not that big of a deal. It really like this truly wireless thing, I question how much it's honestly going to catch on from people, because there isn't outside of workouts and gyms, there is no direct benefit from regular daily driver use with them.
See, and that's the funny thing, because the reason I say that is that Apple has the customer base that truly wireless does not even fit them properly. If the typical iPhone user, right, has Apple uses an iPhone, so has a MacBook, right, and has an iPod, and usually what do they do with those white AirPods that we all hate? Unplug and plug. Mm-hmm. And granted, you could do that with wireless headphones, but there's also certain times where that functionality won't come into play, when you lose battery life, when you now have to charge. Look, you just came back from a long flight, right? Granted, you had wireless headphones, like either you're playing.
But the wireless headphones that are not truly wireless give you that option to plug it in. These truly wireless ones don't give you that.
Exactly. Yep. So you get into that little. If you only carry like the AirPods only, or you carry anything similar to that, even the Bragg or whatever, like eventually it's gonna die on your 16-hour trip, and then you start hearing that plane noise. You're like, okay. Then the baby starts crying. Then you're like, oh my god, this is going to be a long trip. So you guys know my feelings about taking it out, but like you said, Warren, it does nothing for the customer.
Nothing.
There's no reason.
I don't mind the push. I think me and Sam are on the same side. We'd love to see more Bluetooth headphones pushed. I do. I don't. The truly wireless ones, I think, nice gimmick, great for the gym, but great for the gym if the wire honestly bothers you that much. But the reality is, I really want to see more things with Blues pushing out, with Plantronics pushes out, and the many others out there that push high quality Bluetooth earbuds that sound very good, have good quality battery life, and overall a good product, improve, and more people get into those type of things. I think is where customers should kind of be driven more towards.
Yeah, definitely. Speaking of another company who we kind of bashed a little bit last week, LG. It looks like some leaks have come out and some renders for the V30. And it looks like a traditional V30 with, of course, thin bezels and not that slide rubbish that somebody put up last week. So far, also, and of course, LG this year, of course, is still maintaining its headphone jack, because they do throw in quad DACs in there. It does have a headphone jack, USB Type-C. It looks like dual camera at the back, same large screen size. Very much, it looks like a larger G6, I guess I would call it, right? Pretty much.
Oh, this is a whole lot better. That's all we're going to have to say here. This is a whole lot better.
I mean, the rumors are 6 gigs of RAM, and you're looking at 1313 wide-angle cameras.
Yeah. This looks very nice. It's a very nice design. I like this.
It looks like it still will have the ticker on the top, but whatever. Which now the placement on the ticker in between where the camera is, I kind of like that. It's almost like the Essential phone, how it wraps stuff around there. I mean, at least if they're keeping the ticker, at least put it up there, not like a second layer below, like the V20 and the V10. So, yeah. Any other thoughts, or we can just move on and say, thank God it's not what we saw last week.
I mean, thank God it was what we saw last week, but then it looks a little bit better than even the G6 in terms of the way these renders look. It looks like a very premium looking phone. It kind of reminds me of the not as thin a bezel, but the Xiaomi Mi Mix has a very similar look to this. And I think if this is the direction that they're planning to go, then this is a pretty good direction I think they should be going in. It's just on when they're planning to release this, and I really am hoping that they take their time, push with this, let this develop, release it around the time with the Note so you can compete well with it, and don't try to release it before, because releasing it before helps them nada with the way this is with how Samsung's probably going to release the Note.
Well, I mean, we'll see the announcement at IFA, so I mean that's pretty much that.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add, Sam? Or
no. I never really used the V series from LG, so that's a little outside of my thing. I'm more of a Samsung Note guy, but I'm pretty sure people will be very happy with the design of this over what they saw last week. So that's good.
Okay, cool. All right, moving on to some stuff now from Computex, some announcements, some rumors, things like that. One of the things, of course, is what we talked about last week, which was Threadripper from AMD. So a couple of things that happened. Now, the Threadripper was officially announced. They didn't have pricing yet. They said some of this here, but AMD has already done a couple of things to get to where the rumored pricing is. Threadripper's Max is rumored to be priced at $849. Already, Ryzen 7 has been slashed in price by 23%, 23 or 25% now, right?
I think about 23%.
23%. And the rumored price at $849 puts it closer to what Warren was going for at $800. And
I think I actually said $849.
And oh yeah, we did skip one thing. Thanks. We'll get back to it. $849, and that juxtaposed to Intel's announcement with the Core-i9s, which is their highest spec Core-i9 is slightly better in terms of performance-wise than Threadripper, but it is going to be priced at $2,000.
Yep.
So here's where Intel has put itself in the funniest of situations. Now, if this was 2 years ago, it wouldn't matter because AMD didn't have an offering that could compete. With the launch of Ryzen this year, Ryzen basically has shown that you can buy a Ryzen 5 and it will play just as well as a Core i7, not a Core i5, by the way. You can buy a Ryzen 7 and that will match your X chipsets. So the Threadripper now coming in at literally, if you wanted to build your PC for the next 5-6 years, buy a Threadripper. Call it a day.
Yeah, and it's a little sad because I think this is just AMD playing this marketing game a lot better than Intel currently is, and that's because they're small. They have a smaller market share, so they have to be snappier. They have to be a little bit more innovative, right? Coming out with 16 cores, 32 thread CPU for $849, and then also releasing a GPU later on the line. If you buy this, you're locked into an AMD ecosystem. Yes, you can use whatever GPUs you want to use on it, but that board is going to be compatible only with that AMD chip. right? And that's what Intel should have tried to do. They should have tried to lock you down with a cheaper X99 processor or a cheaper i9 version of the i9, and then we still have to see what they come out with for the i9. So far, we've seen their like extremely crazy what is it, 18 cores?
It's the X70 i9 7900X, which is
but
10 cores and 20.
No, 18 cores. 18
cores.
It doesn't say 18 cores from when I found it, but it's 700X.
The Max they released, the one what they announced was the 18 core from Intel.
Well, then that's a different one than from what's being listed here on the website.
Yeah.
The Max. So the 70. So the 18 core is the Core-i9 7980XE 199. It beats. So, this is just a breakdown and gadget put. It beats out AMD's 16 core. So basically, let's put it this way. And it doesn't what they've done is they've solidified themselves by saying whatever else you release in the Core-i9 range, I don't care. Because it's either I get a Threadripper or I get a Core-i9 7880XE.
Yeah, and for $1,150, I might as well just I'll go down.
Yeah, because if you go, okay, fine, I'll get a cheaper Core-i9, and then you now have to start looking, okay, what's the performance between that and the Max Threadripper? And if the Threadripper beats it out or is the same, you still will go with the at least logically you go with the Threadripper because it is X amount cheaper and same performance.
Yeah, I want to see how
you can still overclock this chipsets too, by the way. So
I really would want to see. I really would want to see how what Intel answers the price point for the Threadripper, because Intel already came out with specs. I think there was a spec showing that Intel was doing 5 gigahertz on the
5.7. No, 5.1. 5.7 is overclocked, I believe.
Yeah, so it was. I'm like, okay, they're pushing out specs, but price point is going to be key. Right, so how would they answer to a $850 16 core processor, 32 threads? What do they have to deliver? If 18 cores is $2,000.
Well, they have a 790. They're going to compete this with the 790, 7960. Which is $1699. That's the one they're actually going to promote. This XE version is going to be a very specially made. Probably not a lot of this.
It's still almost twice the price.
It is twice.
So like, how do you compete with $840 price tag? How do you do that?
But what's the size of the chips and whatnot on the Threadrippers?
The Threadripper chips are so to run on Colin's point, and Sam, you saw it at Computex. The chip of Threadripper is massive. It is like that. It is a big chipset. No doubt, no denying about that. In comparison to the Core-i9, the Core-i9 is also big, but I think Ronald might be right. Threadripper might be almost twice the size of.
I think it's about the size and then half again. So yes.
So 1.5.
Which I don't know why you would make a big deal about the size of a processor.
To me, it doesn't make any difference at all.
Yeah, no, people might say, oh, you can put less on the board because of that or whatever, but none of these cards are going to go on a regular ATX. They're always going to go in the ATX, like a EATX board. So it's there's you don't have to worry for space. Really.
Yeah, this is going into like if you're buying any of these
full tower rig,
you're buying a full tower rig, either near server level case probably is that you're going to be putting this into. So I don't know why anybody would care what the size of the processor would be.
Yeah, that's not the issue.
I think Threadripper requires an entirely different motherboard. Yes, Ronald. Yes, it does. It requires an entirely different motherboard.
Same with the Core-i9.
Yeah, the i9 is going to be a totally different motherboard. Because even when the X99 came, the X99 board. So it's they're all going to be new architectures. But at the end of the day, what we have to come down to is simply this, right? Which one of these are delivering high-end or this what we now call a HEDT experience at the best bang for your bucks? And the answer right now is still the Threadripper.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out, marketing-wise. Maybe AMD would do more marketing. And all that kind of stuff. Yeah, coolers and stuff like that. It's really more. It's not the coolers itself. It's just the bracket mounts and the mounting. Because the coolers will be the same. It's just the headers and the mounting which will change. But that part is part of the industry that happens from time to time. Even with Ryzen needed a new cooler because it's a new chip, right? You needed that too. And, it was a slight delay for liquid coolers, but that came out pretty quickly. So in all, it's going to be something where, like, Warren said, what Intel will push is the $1,600 price point Core-i9 is what probably they will market more. And, AMD will market Threadripper Max at $849. And it now becomes, how much do you want to spend? If you're an Intel fanboy, if you really like Intel chipsets, you feel more comfortable, then you will go for that $1,600 price point. Intel has a cheaper one, which is a 10 core, but then that doesn't compete against the 16 core Threadripper, which is again, it still costs more money. It's still $999 for a 10 core. Yeah. Compared to.
Well, we'd have to see when the specs pop, when we actually see the actual testing. The 10 core might outperform a 16 core, and depending upon what's being sent to it and what's happening with it at the time. It shouldn't, but we've seen where there's cases where something with more cores didn't necessarily perform better at that.
Oh no, that is very true. But I also think that's also software adaptation issues. So, for instance, remember early Ryzen reviews, there were some people who said that chipset didn't run well because, of course, certain things were not updated to match, especially certain testing software. And once that did, we all saw how it outperformed. Also, when you actually just used it without using testing software, you could see. But yeah, it's going to be interesting, I think, all the same. And you know what? If you want to build your PC, this is a good time. Even if you just want to go with a regular Ryzen, which also means Intel is going to have to drop price of the Core i5s and i7s too. So it's a good time. You might as well wait a little bit, let the Threadripper and the Core-i9 drop, which means you might still see some more price drops.
But aren't they saying the entry level is the one they're bragging about? The 16 core, 32 thread? Isn't there supposed to be something bigger than that?
There is something bigger, but I think they're moving into a different class, the Kaizen chipsets. Yeah.
So the hell is a Kaizen?
I don't know, man. Whatever. But
what the hell is a Ryzen?
Look, at least they got names that, you know what, now we can call it something. Remember back in the day it was AMD X.
Bring back the Athlon. Part of the reason. Athlon XP.
Athlon was the only naming brand that they had that, stuck well. I mean,
they had the Duron and the Semperon.
Yeah, but it was like little brothers.
The Athlon was the better known. Yeah, the Athlon was the better known.
Athlon was better. Well, the Duron was the server-based ones, but
yeah. So I think they're fine with that. The Ryzen, Kaizen, Tizen. Oh, they can't call it Tizen. I guess they could call it Tizen and spell it somewhere else. I don't know.
Well, they'll spell it a different way.
What's the guy? What's the guy from Dragon Ball Z? Is it Tenzin?
Tenzin. Oh, Tenzin. Or we could go with Captain Aizen.
From Bleach.
From Bleach, yeah.
You might as well just guys give me the anime names.
Oh man, actually, that would actually be a good name because Aizen was badass. So yeah.
Aizen, Ryzen, Tenzin.
Well, Tenzin's from Legend of Korra.
Yeah, so you could just keep throwing all those names in there, but it'll be interesting. Thanks again, Warren. Going back to a news story that we skipped. This is about the OnePlus 5. Expected launch date is June 15th, which is also coherent with what they did last year. They launched around E3 last year, or at least that week of E3, so which is about the same time. And what do you guys think? Do you think OnePlus is doing the right things? They've been doing a couple of things where they've been asking fans what they want for box art and things like that, like smaller stuff. None of the
this is the way to get grassroots support for your phone, and not just say, "Oh, send us a selfie pic." This is the good way to go about it. This is the right way to go about it. We've seen a couple of companies this week. Over the last few months and years, start doing this, right? Start engaging your customers, saying, "Hey, what do you want?" So we can give it to you. And I think that this is a good approach. I still don't know what the specs on this phone is going to be, and I never really used a OnePlus. But the fact that they're looking more for user feedback and guidance on what they're going to deliver, I think that's a very positive step in the right direction.
Warren?
Yeah, I agree. We'll see. They put out a pretty good phone last year, so we'll see this year. Proper marketing, They look like they might grab some more attention. I'd love to hear them announce a carrier partnership with someone directly. Would be the real big thing that they would if they may be able to do that. That'd be pretty big.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. But like I said, step in the right direction. Can't complain. Just don't mess it up, OnePlus. That's all I gotta say. Don't mess it up.
Don't do any crazy ads, people. No crazy ads.
Simple, it's simple stuff, man. Your fan base will love you. If you're gonna do ads, make sure if you get a partner, so you get a T-Mobile, maybe ask T-Mobile to help you with the ads. Just say, just say on that part. Moving on to some more Computex stuff. Qualcomm showcase Windows 10 with Snapdragon 835. We have a video up, but also Sam, I wanted you to just chime more on this. Since you saw it running, actually able to check it out. My question is, how well did it run? We know this is 835 processor, so we know. Some people ask, can I game on this?
No.
Take your PC.
The answer is straight on no.
Away from that, right? Yeah. But this is just for that, simple productivity, or like one would say, this is probably the best kind of processor you put for that CEO, because he's not going to do anything useful on that thing.
So I think for me, I think it's a combination of things, right? So it's not just the 835, right? It's the combination of the 835 running Windows 10 and also having this eSIM in it, right? So the whole idea is Windows is pushing this concept, or Windows and Qualcomm's partnership is pushing this concept of an always-on PC, meaning that your PC behaves very similar to your phone, right? When you turn your phone off, by the time you turn it on, it's still connected to your network, right? To your ISP's network.
Who turns their phone off?
No, I'm saying when you turn the screen off. Like my phone screen is off right now.
Yeah.
But once I turn it back on, I still have cellular service, right? Like right off the bat. I don't have to go in and log in again or do whatever, right? It doesn't have to go look for a Wi-Fi signal. It's sleep mode. From sleep mode, directly still connected. And they want your laptops or your mobile device to work like that. The 835 chipset with X16 in there, because don't forget, that's the big thing they've been pushing, right? X16 giving you that gigabit internet, right? Yeah. That is supposed to get you there. That's supposed to be that underpinning technology that enables everyone to be connected and, to be always connected. But a real thing that it really touched on with Windows 10 was the fact that you could do a lot of productivity on there. We saw them run through Excel. They did a pivot table on Excel. Those of you who are familiar with Excel would know the pivot table is a little bit taxing when it comes to Excel. They did a PowerPoint presentation. They were able to check email. It is boring, but from a productivity standpoint, it does make sense, right? And they get to showcase something that a lot of people don't talk about with the 835, which is the 8 cores that the 835 has, right? We forget that the 835 is the 8-core CPU. So they were able to show that, and they were able to show that some of the cores go to sleep while you're. So they have optimized the cores to make sure that Windows 10 runs smoothly. And for all your people say, oh, but this is ARM, you have to build new architecture to get all the Windows X32 or the 32-bit software to run on there. And what the answer to that is basically there's an emulation layer that Windows runs on there, right? So the emulation layer worked pretty smooth. So all the things they showed, the Microsoft Word, the Excel, PowerPoint, all those that they showed, and they actually showed downloading and running 7-zip. That was done all on an emulation layer. And it was really fast and snippy. So it was actually a really good, smooth experience that they showed. I'm really, really very excited to see when this product's come out from ASUS, from Lenovo, from HP, how these guys actually deliver it. Because there's a potential that you could get devices or laptops that's even thinner than the Huawei Mate X, which everyone's raving about right now. It would be really nice to see that. No, you're not going to be able to play your high-end games on there, but you're definitely, you're definitely going to be able to whip out a laptop and actually do some work on there, some actual productivity on the laptop without actually breaking the bank, theoretically.
Any thoughts on that, Warren? Just on the concept and the fact that, this might give us some really good cheap PCs and not like, Intel's Celeron processors that just tend to pretend to be more powerful than they are.
Yeah, I mean, you got to find some way to compete against the Chromebooks of the world, and that's pretty much just part of the way of doing it. That is all.
Yeah, I mean, for me though, I do like the idea. I personally was hoping this was Microsoft's push for education and Chromebook, so I was a little disappointed. Whether it's just not fully ready enough yet for them to.
Not yet, yeah, but I think I think this is part of it.
Yeah, this is part of it, and I felt that they should have waited to actually make this announcement, but whatever. Together,
if you look at what Microsoft was calling the pillars of for their future engagement with the OEMs, they did mention education as being one of their major plays, right? These devices are supposed to come in, or working with your OEMs is supposed to come in. This was all part of the Microsoft keynotes. It's supposed to come in and make it easier for the OEMs to develop. They're supposed to give the OEMs tools to do all this. So there was a lot of announcement around, giving their OEMs the tools to do this, because Microsoft is making this push more about the OEMs, right? Microsoft doesn't want to be the one making another Surface type device. They want their OEMs to come in and actually make the push to deliver these education solutions and things like that.
So iMyTech says, I don't think the general population really cares about productivity anymore. People want computers for media and fun things.
Well, iMic, I would give you that, except for the fact that you have a lot of companies right now that are pushing the whole idea of bring your own device, right? So while we see that people are interested in entertainment from a personal device side of things, if your company is subsidizing the device you're going to own, and no more just handing you a BlackBerry or handing you an iPhone and saying you have to use this, or handing you an IBM laptop and saying you have to use this, if they're saying you can go out now and buy whatever you want, and we'll subsidize part of it, you're going to go out and get something that works in both worlds, right? You're going to get something that works for you both on your personal side for entertainment and also does work. And I can see a lot of people gravitating towards something like this, where they're like, okay, I'm going to buy this device, right? It has a 835 in there. It's always connected. It has LTE on there. So when I want to do stuff for work, I can do it because I'm always connected. I guess I can try to justify the connection as a work connection. But when I want to also use it to view like streaming videos, I can. These devices, there's a convergence that's happening, right? Where a lot of people aren't like database developers, right? They're using this mostly for the Word, Outlook, Excels, right? So you have these devices that begin to converge, where your entertainment and your productivity are coming in and just meeting at this point now. So yes, you're right. Most people care about the entertainment side, but more and more with the bring your own device movement going on on the corporate side, you see people bringing these entertainment devices and merging them into productivity as well. So you need a device that kind of straddles both worlds.
No, I do agree. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I'm just waiting for at least a product in hand, because with the demo, they had like a demo unit set up, which Sam took a look at. But I think it'd be interesting to see how that actually plays out, down the line. Another PC announcement was not announcement, but at least showcase was the Eve V, which is the crowd-funded Surface competitor, so to speak. Although it's interesting, though, a lot of people have called it the Surface killer, this and that, and it's not. I mean, it's not meant to be, guys. I don't know why people. It's clickbait, I guess. Yeah. Surface is a big name. You got to put it that way.
Well, I would give it to them. It looks very much like a Surface, right? It has the same design language as a Surface.
Yeah, but they also worked with Microsoft at the same time.
Exactly. They also work with Microsoft. So it's not a Surface killer per se. It is giving people, after you look at a Surface, there's certain things you want a Surface to do that it just doesn't, like maybe have more than one USB 3.0 port. So this is really just giving people not the highest end processor, but a high end experience from a Surface.
No, here's the question I want to ask. Since you saw it, is it as thick as a Surface? Was it as thick as your Surface?
Personally, I think it's just about as thick. I actually didn't do it side by side because I didn't have my Surface on me, but it might be slightly thinner than my Surface, my Pro 4. I have to look at the specs, but it felt thinner in my hand because there were rounded edges, right? So it felt a lot thinner versus that squared out edges that the Surface has. So the experience that just holding it was a little better for me.
So here's my thing then for Microsoft, right? Why are you going to allow like these guys from Finland, right? Mm-hmm. Come out, throw in a Thunderbolt 3 port in there, Give me 2 USB ports, man.
Yeah.
Keep it the same size. Give me 13-hour battery. I mean, come on, man.
No, it's one of those things where you can tell that the Surface really was meant to be a reference design, right? And Microsoft has kind of kept it, right? Because Microsoft hasn't really pushed its hardware. We've complained about this a lot. Like Microsoft could do more on the hardware side. So they've worked with this company. Microsoft did help them develop this product, and you can see that in there. In that, like, it's still basically it comes with a pen. Which is so okay. Let's take some of the issues we have with Surface, right? Surface comes with a pen, but it doesn't come with a keyboard, right? This device comes with both a keyboard and a pen, right? Now, where you start seeing that they were working with Microsoft is when you look at ink, right? Theirs comes with a pen, but their pen isn't the kind of, it doesn't give you the same kind of sensitivity.
It's basically the first generation.
Yeah, it's basically a first generation Surface Pen. But because they work with Microsoft and use the same technology the Surface is using, they can also use the new Surface Pro pen. They can use that on their device. So there's a lot of synergy there happening with, like, you know, with Microsoft's features that they use and what they have to offer. Yes, Microsoft doesn't have a USB Type-C. They put 2 USB Type-Cs on their device. Microsoft has one USB
port,
3.0 port on there. They have 2. So there's you can see it where it's like, okay, take the Surface, give people exactly what they want. You know, they did it from a lot of customer engagements. And yes, the processor in there isn't as powerful as the i7s or the i5s that we have in the Surface, but it is meant to give you I would say, a high-end experience rather than like a Surface experience per se.
Okay. Anything you want to add, Warren? Any insights, thoughts?
I mean, it looks like a pretty good device. I haven't had a chance to play with it to really put any sort of a solid opinion upon it. I mean, it looks good, and we'll just have to see if it comes to fruition.
Yeah, so they're supposed to send out some review units, but this is the thing, right? Because of the promise they made to the Kickstarter guys, they're not, or the Indiegogo guys, wherever this was launched, right? They're not going to send out a review unit before before their guys actually get a hand on it, right? So the review units are shipping out around the same time that backers are going to be getting theirs. So it's like they're basically saying this is for our crowdfunded guys. This is not vaporware. They're not doing this obnoxious marketing to where they send out review units months and months ahead of time, and then they have like a embargo and whatever. It's like, you guys are going to have it at about the same time. You're going to see what the reviewers are saying about it, same way you're going to be experiencing it. It's actually a very novel release. And meeting the CEO, what's his name again? Konstantinos. You can feel the energy there. Like there is a lot of passion that was put into this, and it comes through. Even the way the keyboard's designed, the back button is a oops button. There's a triangle button or an inverted triangle logo that's supposed to show, you know, the corporate structure of the triangle with the CEO being at the top, and, you know, decisions trickle from the top down or whatever, but they have it inverted so to show the decisions are basically crowdfunded, right? But at the end of the day, if you
too much thinking.
What?
Too much thinking.
No, well, it's too much thinking, but the thing is this, right? I've always said Indiegogo was a place where people go, or Indiegogo or Kickstarter is a place where people go to push the ideas that they want to see in real life. That's the issue I had with Oculus, because people went there to push for a technology they wanted to see, and look how long it took to come out after Facebook bought it, right? So it's, for me, seeing this and seeing that people are going to get their hands on it is like, okay, this is what an Indiegogo or a Kickstarter product is supposed to be. This is what people can get their hands about, generate buzz about, create, and then see this physical device out there and say, okay, this follows the principles that we in our life want to have companies exude for us. It's pretty interesting stuff. I think it really does follow that whole mentality. I like how Warren goes, nope, don't care.
No, I don't like to over-explain triangles.
No, but that's the logo. But the thing is, you hit shift and that, the keyboard actually changes color. It has like the RGB keyboard, which is pretty cool.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's actually nice then. It starts at $7.99. So yeah, I mean, that's cool. One more thing I wanted to touch on was
Jack Christensen says Zelda symbol.
Looks like the Triforce to me.
That's right, Chad. That is right. one more thing I wanted to talk about was NVIDIA's announcement of the Max-Q GTX 1080s, which will be found in at least 2 devices. One is the Acer Triton, which we saw last month, Acer's big announcement, and then also ASUS Zephyrus, which is a very thin device. So this is, one of the things that I like that NVIDIA's done on the mobile side, which AMD hasn't because they haven't released any new mobile chipsets, is the fact that we're getting, it's not the same performance as a 1080 in your, standard 1080 or 1070 or 1060 in your desktop PC, but you're getting close to that kind of performance. We have the Razer Blade with the GTX 1060, a very thin device, but now we're going to be getting devices which are even thinner and housing the 1080. So you're getting better performance. If you want to game on the go, much better. You don't have to have a gaming laptop anymore. You know what I mean? Like that gaming laptop that just looks
gaming
like
laptop should never actually ever be in the same.
Super triangles and left and right type of thing. Not anymore.
Look like something out of the alien ship.
Yeah. Now, I mean, unless of course you want to have a dedicated 1080, then you're still going to get bigger. They're still going to do those 17 inches and things like that. But
the thing has a Thunderbolt there. So if you really want a dedicated 1080 Ti to game with, you just get one of those enclosures and that's it. I think the era of the gaming laptop is dead, man. And Thunderbolt.
Stop gaming on a laptop.
Yeah, Thunderbolt is killing it. If you really want to game on your laptop, get a GPU enclosure and just use Thunderbolt to connect to it, and that's it. That's what you got to do.
Stop gaming on a laptop.
I mean, come on, man. People travel. Some college kids don't want to build like a big PC rig like we do.
He's like, excuses. You don't want to spend $5,000 on those.
I am just throwing it out there, okay? What people like to do.
You don't have to spend $500 to get a great gaming PC.
You just have to spend $500 to get a great gaming PC now.
Yeah, that's good.
Especially with Ryzen's now, you can just spend $500 and you're good.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're good. So, but yeah, it will be interesting to see how that turns out when it comes out. But I think it's pretty good stuff. Anything else we missed news-wise this week before we round up? Because I don't think there's anything else.
No, not really. For me, it was mostly just Computex.
Is there anything else that you saw at Computex that you liked, that you thought was really interesting, or have we covered most of it at this point?
Yeah, no, we've covered all the things I thought was really, really interesting. Oh, yes, the MSI graphics card, the 1080 Lightning. Holy Lord in heaven. That thing had like 3 power connectors on there. Yeah, I don't know. Wow.
You only be able to use 2.
Yeah, for my system, I will only be able to use 2 because
I have system.
Yeah, I have 6 connectors, so that means I'll only be able to use the SLI, not even a tri SLI on this thing. So
let me share an image or video for you guys so you guys can see what he was talking about.
That thing is huge. It's like 4 pounds, I think. it's not a small thing.
Let me find the video. Is it video image?
I think it's the image. We might have an image somewhere, and also some video. Yeah, okay. But that was fun. I saw some PCs. There were a lot of guys building PCs. Should I say customizing PC cases at Computex. That was really cool. I hope I wish I could have gotten coverage of that because my camera was dying. But that was really cool. There's still that crowd of like custom PC builder that's still out there, and Computex had them in aces, man. I saw some really amazing things being done there. So yeah, if you guys get a chance, just
show you, that's it, and it uses 1, 2, 3 PSG power ports. So the most you can do is an SLI on this thing, and it looks pretty big.
Yep.
It's a good card. Why?
Is it an overclock card? I mean,
it's the Lightning cards. I think it might be overclocked. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're still trying to. Is this the whole we need to run Crisis thing again?
Oh no!
They were actually using it to run For Honor, and it was actually pretty cool.
It's not Crisis anymore. Crisis is not that serious anymore in terms of like pushing
Yeah, they fixed it, right? They fixed all the crazy rendering issues that Crysis had. We were rendering things that.
Also remember, Crysis was based then where your CPU was still doing a lot of work on Crysis, not your GPU.
No GPU. Yep.
Yes. Now if you play Crysis, it's kind of balanced out altogether. But back then it was, can it run Crysis? You know, because Crysis, everything, especially if you're trying to run Crysis on, was it 1080p? Right? Or was it 4K? Yeah. No, it's 1080p. It's 1080p. 1080p. And the water effects coming out of the sea and all that. I was like, man, my machine there was just chugging. Chugging.
You hear all your fans go on at the same time.
As soon as you start the game, you hear.
Like, okay, we need to stop this.
Yeah, but she's like, please, let's stop this. This is too much work. Yeah, but now you don't have those kind of issues. And I think most developers have at least understood that, you know, you might want to encode a little bit better, just a little bit better. You don't have to. It's almost like Crysis to me then was the guys who built a fantastic rendering engine, and then did not turn it to a game engine. And then they built a game on a rendering engine and said, it's almost like say they built the engine that makes a Pixar movie. And then they made a game out of it. Because remember, the game size is also huge.
Yeah. Oh God. Yes.
Crysis was almost, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know how big it was, but it took up a lot of space. I installed Crysis. I was like, I have to uninstall a bunch of games because I ain't got no space. So yeah, it's definitely different. But anyway, now we get to the point of the show, guys, where we find out what we have on our channels and what we can expect next week. I'll start off with you, Mr. Warren Bowman, and then you can give us our word of the day when we're done.
Why don't I always start first?
I can go first. I'll go first. Yeah. So we have a bunch of Computex stuff that's going to be up on the site. I think a couple of things that we did have is the MSI, like we just said, the MSI card should be on there. The Asus, what's it called, Zephyr should be on there. We have some Zotac stuff on there as well. You get to see their water-cooled GPUs and some of the new products that he announced at Computex. We have stuff from Qualcomm. We have, we have a few videos you should check out from Computex.
All kinds of Computex.
All kinds. Yeah, they were supposed to come during the week. So apologize because internet speeds over there were.
Yeah. Yeah. Although I did find out after the fact that using mobile, getting a mobile SIM, you could probably get 30/30 on mobile SIM.
Yeah, we were out at the hotel, and at the show it was what, 1.5.
Oh God, the hotel Wi-Fi was 0.98.
Well, you're connected. You didn't say you would get anything. You're just connected.
Yeah, God in heaven, that was just brutal.
Yeah, it was. There's one video that you shot that I think everybody should check out. Is it was with Qualcomm, but I found the company that did it. They were working with, they had a HTC Vive wireless.
Oh, direct link. Yeah, direct link. Yeah.
So, instead of you having all that, super jumbo long wires connecting and all that, it just is a pack that connects to the back of the HTC Vive. That video goes up today. And then, side pack, and you can do wirelessly your VR. So no more tethered to your PC or anything like that. I was like, finally.
Yeah, no, it really does give you a full range of motion because he spins around a couple of times in that video just to show that you don't get
spin around. Does it go like this and all this other stuff? Like, can I do that? Can I just do Can I do stupid dances? If I can't do stupid dances, it doesn't matter.
Like, did he spin around? Did he spin around?
I think that's beginning to be that whole idea where you get that the full VR experience without being tethered. I think that's the big thing that a lot of people are showing VR without being tethered, right? Even Qualcomm was showing that they now have this whole term called XR, which is more of a integrated system into the kind of like for Asus, right? What Asus has for Windows 10, right? They're all going to be integrated into the headset. It's going to be tetherless now. I think that's the right direction for VR to move. But I don't know if I'm still a VR fan yet, man. I'm still not sold on the VR promise.
All right. Anyway, on my end, stuff. I'm joking. TV and Sonos next week. I said this week, but is just taking me some time, so that will be up next week.
ED and Sodas?
Sonos. Yeah, sorry, Warren, you're getting Robo Voice. You've been selected for Robo Voice today since.
Yep. Yes, I called it. I called it.
No, I'm testing out a different headset. It actually changed from the one that I was using earlier.
It's Robo Voice. It is Robo Voice. But anyway, what can we expect? Also, our last word for the day.
Robo Voice.
Really? That's it? All right. All right, guys. Well, everyone, thank you very much.
Is that a word?
What?
You said last word.
Oh, God have mercy. Check out all the channels. Check out Mr. Warren Bowman at BW1.com. You can follow him on Twitter. It's also BW1.com, as well as his YouTube channel is the same name. And not here is Mr. Juan Bagnell. Check him out at Pocket Now for Pocket Now videos. His own personal channel is Some Gadget Guy. He has stuff on VidMe. Just look for Juan Bagnell. I think you find it there. And of course, Some Gadget Guy on Twitter. And Sam, part of the Booredatwork Network, it is _man, green like the Hulk, money like Iron Man. You know, I'm just looking like Iron Man.
Yes, yes.
I look at your image right there, man. Okay, you have the Hulk up there as your image.
Oh yeah, I do.
Yeah, this was like green like the Hulk, money like Iron Man. And of course, myself, it's Thunder E. But you want to find me? It's Booredatwork on YouTube, Twitter, as well as also all other social media channels. This is Thunder E saying thank you very much and always enjoy your entertainment.